Okay, here is the videos for the recordings and the explanations for them. Just kind of follow along. I mean, in this one, it's going to tell you what traffic can go. You guys can actually read that. I don't actually have to read it to you. And the instructions, okay? When you get to this, all right, basically the answers are right here for you. And if you look, you can actually see that this subnet is 206, okay? You can see that this subnet down here is also 206. You can see that this subnet over here should be the 10.72. This one's 192. Okay, I got that one correct. Incorrect. And this one's 206. Okay, that's fairly simple. So you're going to go with /28s on both of those, or all three of those, right? Now in the top left subnet, you're going to put in the screen subnet. Okay, you're going to put in the FTP server, and you're going to put in the web server. In the building A devices, okay, which is over here. Up here, you got to switch out the telnet, put in the SSH. These are all going to be workstations, and you're probably going to put a wireless access point right there, right? That's fairly simple. Now, down here in the bottom left, just put in a DNS server. Just remember, is there a wireless access point right there? Just drag that over. And then 5 workstations, cover that. And then take the SSH server, which should be right here, and put this right here to telnet, and you will have the correct answers. Right, this one looked a little more difficult. I made some big changes to it, so hopefully this will actually help you. Everything's case sensitive. The broadcast name, the SSID, is case sensitive, so is the shared secret. Now, it's not as hard as it looks. I've typed in red. Pay attention to the red, okay? This is going to be the IP address. There's the SSH. I mean, not the SSH, sorry. I'm going to have to re-record this, but I got to get it out quickly because I got something I got to do. SSID, CorpNet, remember, case sensitive. /27, because everything is at least 30 IP addresses. That's what they're looking for. Make sure you select auto on both of these. Select G. Select 1, because one of them's going to be 1, one's going to be 6, one's going to be 11. 1, 6, 11. That way there's no interference. Make sure you select WPA because they're wanting TKIP. If they switch it to CCMP, then do WPA2, but I don't think they're going to. And again, this has to be case sensitive, just like the CorpNet does. Now, the way they've got this worded, I don't know if you can change this or not. If you can change it to .33 because we're going up by 32, 0, 32, 64, which first usable would be the default gateway would be, obviously, the first usable would be .33. The first usable that we're going to use is going to be .34. Otherwise, you're going to use just .3. But make sure all of them are /27, all of them are CorpNet, all of them are G, all of them are auto. This one's 6. Select WPA. Again, the passphrase doesn't change. I don't know if you can copy and paste it. Hopefully you can. Now on 3, the exact same thing, 27. If it's giving you the ability to change this, change it to .65, because 0, 32, 64, 65, and 66. Otherwise, go with .4. Sorry, I don't know what you're looking at when you see it. I haven't ever had this one. Select G on every one of them. Select auto on every one of them. This one, select 11. 1, 6, 11. Remember that. Select WPA. This one is case sensitive. Make sure that you use that. Okay. Now in this next one, this looks difficult, but it isn't. Everything that is clickable, you know, if it's grayed out, that means it's disabled. That's what it should be. If nothing's connected to it like this one should be disabled. This one should be disabled. This one should be disabled, right? If there's a link between them, LACP has to be enabled on both ends. You will see that. I've got that. LACP needs to be enabled on both ends. Anytime you have 2 links going between switches, there has to be link aggregation protocol. The only one that's going to be a little weird on this one is going to be this one here, because this one has a voice over IP phone, so you're going to have different VLANs. Pay attention to this. This one's the voice LAN, so that's going to be VLAN 220, okay? There's only one that's got the wireless LAN. That's going to be this switch up here, which is 150. So you're going to disable 150 on this one. And you're going to notice that you have 220 should be enabled. You've got a printer, so 60's got to be enabled. You got a server, so 90 has to be enabled, and you have wired users, so 120 has to be enabled. Same thing up here, except this one is going to have all except for the voice. All right, it's going to have the wireless local area network. It'll have 150 enabled. This one's going to have wired. So when you go down through here, I've made sure that you understood every one of them. Like here, it's disabled, okay? If it's not a connection, a connection switch to switch, link aggregation protocol needs to be disabled. If there's a connection between two switches, link aggregation on that particular port has to be enabled. Again, you're going to be able to click on these, okay? Now you can't have anything wired to it, obviously, other than that. So pay attention to these notes. All this other stuff is okay. There's only a few ones that you're going to tag, okay? Host machines do not need to be tagged. The only time we need tagging is when we're going between VLANs. You'll see that. Hopefully this will help. Just pay attention to these notes. You're going to probably have to look over them a couple times to understand what's going on. Unfortunately, I can't be there with you, and I don't know what I did here, and this one's a little bit of a mess. I'm going to tell you to disable this one. I don't know why I did that, and I've got no way to undo that right now because unfortunately this is in a PDF form. I'll try to change that when I get home tonight about 9:30, 10 o'clock. We'll see. All right, everything else is correct. I mean, if there's nothing connected to it, disable it. And I've got all the notes that should tell you, like here, disable that. Okay, so pay attention to those. Some of these you're not going to have to make any changes to. But there should be notes on every one of those. Now, hopefully that will help you. And here's the notes individually. Now this next one. Let's see what this one is. All right. First of all, I can tell you, no problem. No problem. And I think you have to click stuff. But if you got to get the instructions, normally you can grab it right up here at the top of an instruction and move it around. There's no problem on the servers. There's no problem on PC1. The only problem is going to be PC2 and I believe PC5. PC2 will have a short right there. And let's see, is it PC4? No, it is PC5. In other words, man, I don't know what happened. I don't know why I did that. I'm going to have to look at it when I get home and fix that. Okay, that one, the connector's on backwards, all right? So when you get down here, no problem. This is going to be fairly simple. No problem, no problem. Cable short detected, replace cable, no problem. And it's almost directly beneath it. PC5, connection on or connector on backwards, replace cable. Everything else is no problem. As long as you can remember PC2 and PC5 are the ones that have problems, basically cable short detected, replace cable, connector on backwards, replace cable. Hopefully that will help you. Now the only way you're going to be able to get to this is obviously I have to give you a link. You will obviously see that because you'll get that. Just don't pass it around. All right. This one looks a lot more difficult than what it really is. I know. Just do your very best. And I know this is going to be difficult to understand. All right. But the first one is we're going to use, oh, I missed one here. I can't believe I did that. Let's see. 255 to 1.0. Let's see what 1.0 is so I can figure this out real quick. Windows workstations, I would say that's RDP. I'm almost positive that's RDP because we're going into the Windows environment. Because if you look at this 1.25, let's look, these are Linux. Yeah, that would be SSH. So yes, that one would be RDP. This one's SSH. Again, you're going to use RDP to go to Windows. You're going to use SSH to go to Linux. You're going to allow them. Just make sure, where are we doing the management from? We're doing the management from 192.168.255.0. And we're going into each of these. That's why you're writing the rules the way you are writing them. This one's going to be fairly simple. Just go right across I don't think, if it's like that, I don't know on the exam, but there's going to be some that we're going to allow and some we're not going to allow, okay? 1255 goes to any. I'm not real sure about that. Oh, it's anything else. That's why you write the more specific rule up here. Anything after that rule, they're not allowing it to go. That's why they're doing that. Now, again, you're going to have to scroll up and down. You're not going to have to do this on the exam, but to look at this before you take the exam, notice that the management stations obviously is dot 255. Dot 1 is the Windows workstations. Okay, well, the workstations need to be able to get to the internet. So where are they going to go? They're going to need to be able to get to dot 25 network. They're going to be able to get to dot 26 network. Those kind of things, we're going to allow that. Just kind of pay attention. Take a little bit of time, think about it. Unfortunately, this is the best I can do for right now. I'm trying to get this out so you guys get access to it quickly. Now, on this one, right there is going to show you what command you're going to run. If you don't know what commands are available, always type in help or type in a question mark, hit enter. And when you do, it will come up. The routing table will be there, the configuration will be there. You can kind of flip back and forth if I remember right. All right. And I can tell you here, router A, problem found, destination prefix. Just remember that, because originally I had no problem found, but I took a good look at it. Again, I wish I had more time to walk you through it, but that's why you have to run those commands in those labs. So all three of them seem to have had a problem, okay? Problem found, destination, because you got to know what's next to it. I mean, I wish I had more time to do this. I will try to do more time tonight, or maybe tomorrow. I don't know when I'm going to have time. It took quite a bit to go through and get all these notes added. And then router 3, problem found, destination. What you got to look for is like, okay, router C, destination 10.0.5, okay? Well, where's 10.0.5? That should be all the way over here on the left. Yeah, that's all the way over here, and it's talking about router C. Well, router C has to have a route to be able to get to this, and it has to know what's connected to gig 3. So hopefully that's the note I've got in there. Let me go take a look. And this is the bad thing about having to scroll up and down. Oh, okay. So gig 2, let me take a quick look at that to make sure. I mean, the security plus ones are easier than this. Okay, that's where you would put the interface on. It's on this interface. Okay, so you'd make that configuration there so it knows how to get there. All right. So we got about 3 or 4 more of these, maybe just 3. All right, this one is another one. Again, you guys can read the instructions. I'm not going to take the time to go through that. This one looks really weird, and I'm not real sure. But I mean, here's the actual answers, if I remember right. Yeah, PC2, problem, bad gateway. I see this says bad IP address. It's bad gateway. Solution, change gateway address. Server 1, problem, bad gateway, change this. Unless I can actually see the output, but nobody's given me the output from this one. So I don't know if it's a bad IP address or bad DNS address. This is something I got from somebody that I somewhat trust. And this one, I mean, you can look all the way through this. I can tell you the 2 easiest answers on this one. I mean, it's a nightmare. First of all, you're going to use WAN 2. I already know that, and it's going to be router A that's the bad router. How do I know that? It took me a while to go through that. It's like, okay, oh, router A, problem there. And then WAN controller 2 is the one that didn't have any downtime. So those are the 2 I picked. Okay, so when you get here, WAN 2, router A, that's that simple. Trust me, that's probably the easiest one you're going to have. Now, this one, this is a very unique one. Now, from what I've been told from somebody else, is you need to type in run, basically show IP ARP, okay? And then what you're going to do is look for the MAC addresses associated with the IP addresses. In other words, which PC is it? And I'm not sure what you're going to see. Like I say, unfortunately, I don't have this in front of me. I'm having to go with what I've got. But you want to tie MAC address to IP address. In other words, MAC address to IP address for PC1, PC2. Do not let this thing unnerve you. Make sure you get enough of the other questions right. If you're real nervous when it comes to the simulations, do them at the very end. All right. And the very last one I actually put on here, okay? And this is a ticketing problem. And I've taken a look through this, and I'm like, okay, we got a core switch, we got 2 switches, and we got 2 servers. And they're like, okay, what do we got on access switch 1? Okay. I should have put the answers right there. I thought I did. But it tells you here. These, again, type help. It'll show you different commands. Show interface, show ARP, show MAC address table, show VLAN. I've been told the easiest way to do this one is on the core switch, is basically just show VLAN brief. You'll see that it's on the incorrect VLAN. And then here's your answers. Show interface on switch 2, disconnect interface. And what was the other one? Show VLAN brief. Probably you don't have to type in brief, you just type in show VLAN. It'll come up and click incorrect VLAN. For 1, VLAN 2, show interfaces, disconnect interface, or it's disconnect interface. In other words, you're not going to type this in, it's going to be a drop down. And then the core switch, show VLAN, incorrect VLAN. So it looks like you've got 2 that are incorrect VLANs. Just do the best you can. I know this is not going to be simple. I'm going to try and email these out to you guys, and I'll try to make a better recording where I take a little bit more time. But this was in crunch time, so good luck.